Here we have the Pixel 8 Pro. It is powered by the Tensor G3 SoC. In this video, we'll check out its benchmark scores and also do a 1-hour gaming test with 4 games, each running for around 15 minutes. I wanted to do this test last month when this phone launched, but at the time of launch, this device felt quite unoptimized, so I decided to wait for a month before jumping to conclusion. In this 1-month period, this phone has been updated to the latest build of Android with November security patch. All my testing is done with the screen set to around 200 nits of brightness in a room with an ambient temperature of around 25 degrees Celsius. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so here are the benchmark scores for Geekbench 6, Antutu 10 and 3D Mark Wildlife. These scores put the Tensor G3 in the league of Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, Exynos 2200 and Dimensity 9000 chips. So, when compared to the previous generation of Pixel phones, you can see a big improvement in the benchmark scores. But when you compare it to the latest flagships, this score seems a bit underwhelming. Coming to stress tests, this is where the Pixel's performance is quite interesting. When it comes to the CPU stress test, this phone performs quite poorly with less than 60% stability. It throttles quite quickly, but then stays stable at a lower performance level. This shows that Google has optimized this phone to generate less heat at the cost of CPU performance. On the other hand, the GPU stability score is excellent at over 90%. This is much improved compared to how this phone was performing initially at launch. Higher GPU stability should mean stable frame rate in gaming, even after long gameplay sessions. We'll see how this translates into real-world gaming performance later in this video. Before starting the gaming test, check out these on-screen details for you to monitor while watching this gaming test. Now let's start with PUBG Mobile. Here we get the option to play at 60 FPS in HDR graphics or 45 FPS in Ultra HDR graphics. The 90 FPS mode is not yet supported on this phone. We'll play in HDR graphics with extreme frame rate, which is 60 FPS. Okay, so as you can see, the frame rate is rock steady at around 60 FPS. The gameplay looks and feels very smooth and responsive, so I have no complaints with how this game performs on the Pixel 8 Pro. After this gaming session, the maximum surface temperature reached around 38 degrees Celsius, which is quite good. Next is Call of Duty Mobile. Here you get the option to play at medium graphics at 120 FPS or very high graphics at 60 FPS with all the effects turned on. So first, we'll try the 120 FPS option. Here the gameplay feels buttery smooth and responsive. The frame rate stayed over 100 FPS for the whole gameplay session, which is quite impressive. Now we'll play at 60 FPS with very high graphics and all effects turned on. Alright, even here, the frame rate is rock steady at 60 FPS, the gameplay feels very smooth and responsive, and my overall experience of playing this game on the Pixel 8 Pro has been very positive. After this game, the phone's surface temperature barely crosses 37 degrees Celsius, which is great. Next is Asphalt 9. Unfortunately, this game is not yet optimized for the Tensor G3 SoC, so there is no 60 FPS and high quality graphics options. So we'll have to play this game at 30 FPS in default graphics. While this phone is easily able to maintain 30 FPS, this game feels choppy as 30 FPS is not ideal for high-speed racing games. I feel Google should be more proactive about working with game developers to get the more popular games optimized for their phone even before the phone launches. After all, this is a flagship phone with a hefty price tag, so this is quite disappointing. As this game was not at all taxing for this phone at 30 FPS, the surface temperature just reached 36 degrees Celsius. Last and the most demanding game is Genshin Impact. I'm playing this game in medium graphics at 60 FPS with no motion blur. Here the phone is not being able to maintain a constant frame rate of 60 FPS. In outdoor areas, the frame rate is ranging from 40 to 50 FPS for the most part, and in indoor areas, the frame rate ranges from 50 to 60 FPS for the most part. While I didn't experience any frame drops or choppiness, I was expecting this phone to perform better at medium graphics. Even after playing this very demanding game, the surface temperature remained under 40 degrees Celsius, which is impressive. Okay, so my overall experience of playing these games was quite positive, especially the first two games. Unfortunately, Asphalt 9 is still not optimized for this hardware even after a month, and I was hoping for higher frame rate from Genshin Impact. But still, this level of performance is good enough for casual gamers. However, for its price, you can get much more powerful phones like the S23 Ultra. So, while this phone is definitely not made for gamers, you can still get a good enough gaming experience out of it. For this gaming test, these are the battery usage details. If you extrapolate these numbers, you should be able to get 4+ hours of gaming on a single battery charge. That is quite good in my books. Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel down below. Thanks for watching.